recovered from his wound, he testified and was able to identify Oswald.
Mr. Reynolds, where are you employed?
At the Giant Reynolds Motor Company.
And were you working there on November 22nd, 1963?
Yes, sir.
How close is the used car lot which you worked to the scene of the Tippit killing?
1 block.
Were you there at about 1 o'clock on the 22nd?
Yes, sir.
And then what happened? What did you see? What did you hear?
We were listening to the radio about the assassination, and we heard these shots, and we ran out on this porch, and we saw this gunman running up the street, and I followed him for a block until I lost him. And then I was going back to the used car lot, and this policeman stopped me and asked me what had happened. And I told him that I had seen this man with the gun, and I had followed him, and I lost him. So he took the description and my name and stuff like that, and while I was talking to him, some television camera was taking the pictures. And after that, I went on back to the used car lot.
Were you questioned by agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation or the United States Secret Service during November 1963?
No, I sure wasn't.
Were you questioned by FBI agents or Secret Service agents during December 1963?
No, sir.
Were you questioned by FBI agents or Secret Service agents during January 64?
Yes, sir, I was.
When was that, sir?
That was on January the 21st. 2 agents come out and they talked to me and asked me what I had seen, and I told them, and they showed me 3 pictures.
You were questioned by agents of the FBI on January 21st, 64. Then what happened?
Two days after that, as I was closing up the used car lot one night, when I went downstairs to turn off the lights, some gunman was hidden down there, and he shot me. He shot me through the glasses, right here, and the bullet lodged right over here.
Mr. Reynolds, who knew about your questioning by the FBI between the time that you were actually questioned by them and the time that you were shot 2 days later?
Just friends and, of course, my family.
The commission concluded on page 663 of its report that it was wild speculation for anyone to think that there might have been a connection between the fact that you were shot in January and the fact that you observed the gunman flee from the Tippit scene. What is your comment, sir?
If they would catch the man and prove that he did do it, we could figure out from there whether he was connected or not. And until then, I don't believe anybody is smart enough to say whether it is connection or not.
That's one of the examples, and there are many others. Bill Hunter was shot through the heart in the police station out in Long Beach, California. Jim Cody on the Times Herald was killed by a karate chop to the throat in his apartment in Dallas. And the man that was the most likely suspect was not even indicted for the murder. The death of Tom Howard is a very strange one. They said he died of an apparent heart attack. There was no autopsy. But I know personally that Tom Howard was acting very strangely 3 days before he died. I and other people who saw him felt like that he was very frightened. 3 days later, he was dead. Now, he was the man who saw Jack Ruby first after the killing of Oswald.
Well, whether these deaths are related to the assassination or not, does the fact that witnesses have died in this fashion tend to make it more difficult to secure statements from those witnesses who have survived?
Certainly, there is very little evidence, first-hand evidence left with the erasing of the lives of Tippit and Oswald and these other people who had first-hand conversations with either Ruby or Oswald, that has made the gathering of evidence very difficult. And the continued threats on these people who still have evidence makes them hesitant to talk, and it makes anyone trying to do investigative work very, very difficult.
Do you know of any witnesses, commission witnesses, who were threatened before they testified before the commission?
Mrs. Clemens was one. She witnessed the killing of Tippit.
Mrs. Clemens, where were you on November 22nd, 1963?
I was working for Miss Smotherman on 327 East 10th, just down the block from where Tippit was killed.
Did you know Officer Tippit?
Yes, I saw him pretty many times.
And did you hear the shots?
Yes, I heard the shots.
And what did you do?
I ran out into the street and looked down the street, and I ran back down the street where he was lying, and I looked at him.
Now, when you heard the shots and you went out of the house, did you see a man with a gun?
Yes, I did.
What was he doing?
Oh, he was reloading it. When I said he was reloading his gun.
And how would you describe that man?
Well, he's kind of chunky. He's kind of heavy. He wasn't a very big man.
Was he tall or short?
Yeah, he's kind of short guy.
Short and heavy.
Yes.
And was there any other man there?
Yes, there was one on the other side of the street. All I know, he told him to go.
Mrs. Clemens, the man who had the gun, did he make any motion at all to the other man across the street?
No more told him to go.
Well, he waved his hand and said, go on.
Go.
And then what happened with the man with the gun?
He unloaded and reloaded.
And what did the other man do?
Man kept going straight down the street.
And then did they go in opposite directions?
Yes, they were. They weren't together. They went this way from each other. The one done the shooting went this way. The other went straight down past street that way.
What was the man who did not do the shooting, but the man who went in the other direction from the man with the gun? What was he wearing, if you remember?
Well, first I remember he looked like light khakis and a white shirt.
And was he tall or short?
He was tall.
And was he heavy or thin?
He was thin.
But the one who had the gun, seconds after Tippit was shot, he was short and
Yes,
he was heavy?
he was short and kind of heavy.
Now, did you testify before the Warren Commission about this case?
I haven't said anything to anyone.
Did anyone come to see you after the murder of Officer Tippit?
Yes, he was a man came, I don't know what he was. He came to my house and talked to me. But I don't know what he looked like a policeman to me.
He did. Did he have a gun?
Yes, he wore a gun.
Mrs. Clemens, how long after Tippit was shot did this man with a gun come to visit you?
About 2 days. It was about 2 days. Said that I might get hurt. Someone might hurt me if I would talk.
About what you saw?
What I saw. He just told me to be the best if I didn't say anything because I might get hurt.
I would love to see a computer faced with the problem of coming up with the probabilities of the assassination taking place the way it did, with all of these strange incidents that took place before and are continuing to take place after the assassination. I think all of us who love this country should be alerted that something is wrong in the land.
full name is Lee Harvey Oswald, Oswald.